Hi, hello. Hi, hello. It's Justine and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm doing a video that I never thought I would be doing, and I was somehow accepted to art school. Not one art school, but 3 art schools. I never thought I would be accepted to any art school. Just being accepted to more than one is just a huge accomplishment for me, and I'm just very grateful to have this opportunity and to be sitting here making this video right now. I feel so awkward and nervous doing this for some reason. I don't know why. I guess because when I was first going through my application process and stuff, I'd always watch those videos on YouTube about oh, this is my accepted portfolio, and I was always so intimidated. It feels different to be in a completely different position than I was even a year ago, where instead of just watching the videos and being like, oh my god, I wish my art looked something like that, I have spit on my lip and it feels disgusting. It's kind of surreal, so I guess we shall jump in to my portfolio. So I applied to 6 art schools and I was accepted into SAIC, which is the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, MICA, Maryland Institute College of Art, and SVA, the School of Visual Arts. I was rejected from Cal Arts, and it was the only school I was rejected to, technically. I think we all saw that coming from a mile away if you've seen my vlogs at all about my process of my Cal Arts portfolio. Spoiler alert, it was very bad, and I procrastinated a lot. I got waitlisted at Pratt, and apparently it was one of their most competitive years, so they chalked on that. I don't think I will be, or I don't think I was accepted, because I still haven't heard anything. It's May 12th as I record this, and I haven't received any letter or notification from them, so I'm ultimately just gonna assume that I was rejected. The only odd problem I've had, so you're probably wondering who the 6th school is. It's RMCAD, the Rocky Mountain College of Art and Design, and I still haven't heard anything back from them. I haven't gotten any emails, I haven't gotten letters, I haven't received anything from them, and I submitted an application back in December of 2018. I paid an application fee, I filled out the application on their website, I paid a slide room fee, I did the slide room application, so I have no idea why they never sent any information to me. Even when I requested information from them, they just never sent me anything back when I was deciding which schools I wanted to apply to. I mean, it's not, they were pretty much on the last, they were the last school on my list anyway, so I'm not itching to find out whether I was accepted there or not. It's just kind of disappointing since I paid that money and I put time and effort into applying to those schools, but it's whatever. I wanted to make this video once I had decided fully on where I was going, and I'm proud to say that I will be attending the School of the Art Institute of Chicago in the fall, so yay! I will be moving in a few months from one of the hottest states in the US to one of the coldest, yay! But we all know why you're here, and that is to see my ugly portfolio. I'm going to try and be as little self-deprecating as possible because we're trying to be positive in 2019 instead of negative. So without further ado, let's get into this. The first piece I included in my portfolio I called Casting Blues. It's basically, I filmed the process of making this in one of my videos, so if you want to check that out and just see what my thought process behind it was and what I was kind of doing with it, I have a video about it, so if you want to see it, you can. But this is Casting Blues. I wanted to showcase that I could illustrate a frame of motion as I'm going onto an animation and film track. This is just a series of 5 hands. They're throwing a ball. This, like I said, if you want to see the more detailed analysis, I already have a video about this, so I'm not going to get too into it. But I wanted the ball to symbolize more mental illness and depression, and you're just throwing that away. This piece was mostly used as a reference, practice, or more of an educational type piece. I still wanted to have meaning behind it. The next one is a sketchbook spread, and I called this Irish Faces. This is mainly from when I went to Ireland, and I sketched a bunch of faces that I saw while I was in Ireland in my sketchbook. Some schools said they wanted to see sketchbook pages and some didn't, so I included this sketchbook spread regardless. It's done in ballpoint pen. That's pretty much it. It's just a sketchbook spread of random people showing I could draw faces, I guess. This next one is two together. It's called Dancers in Motion. I created both of the pieces in this series at a life drawing studio class I did last summer. The goal of the class was obviously life drawing, being able to draw people in motion, people moving, better life. The medium I focused on for that class was charcoal. We could choose between like charcoal and Conti crayon or something like that. So I chose charcoal, which was difficult because at the time I really did not like charcoal. I thought it was just a hard medium to grasp for me. But after this I ended up really enjoying it, and it's become one of my favorite mediums to work with. These pieces we had to work backwards on, which was really interesting. So we basically had to spread the charcoal across the page and then erase and etch out what we wanted the person to look like. So yeah, it's just it was really interesting. The next one is Phoenix, and I did this for my drawing class at school. Our project was a cityscape. We were supposed to draw a cityscape in, I think, 3-point perspective, but I did not follow that prompt whatsoever. So we were supposed to draw a cityscape, and I modeled the city after buildings found in my own home state city of Phoenix. And typically I don't really like my home state. Phoenix is okay, but generally it's not a very like bustling city. It's not like when you think city, like you think New York or LA or Chicago, you don't think Phoenix, despite it being one of the most populated cities in the US. So I wanted to just kind of do a commentary on that, I guess. I used harsher colors that give more of a horror type vibe and atmosphere. I am not very good at talking about these, I'm so sorry. Next one is a self-portrait, and this is when I get self-deprecating. So I made the self-portrait twice basically. I had an earlier version, and looking back on that earlier version, I should have put that one in my portfolio because it looked a lot more interesting and it just looked a lot better to me. This one I blended the colors a lot more, and I don't like how it turned out. It looked kind of boring. This is a digital self-portrait. I wanted to show that I could use digital tools of the medium and I could draw a face basically. I don't know, this is my favorite one, but yeah, I wanted to create contrast between the colors because this is right after I did my hair orange and I was wearing a bright blue shirt, so color theory, painting medium, you know, the usual. Next one is what I call View on the Seine River. This was a weird one because I typically am not a painter. My mom wanted me to paint when I was a little girl. She would make me paint, and I grew up painting, but I hate it so much and I'm not good at it. I included this because I wanted to show that I was still trying, I guess. This was based on a picture I took while I was in France when we were on the Seine River, and I just wanted to try something new with textures and color, and I think it turned out pretty nicely. I'm pretty proud of this piece. So this next one is 2 pages from this little comic book I made for my mythology class that I took for my college scholarship program throughout my junior and senior year of high school. That was a mouthful. We had to create a storybook or a comic book for our final project, and me being extra, I did a comic book, and I did the first 2 pages because I thought they turned out pretty decently for someone who has never really had a lot of experience doing comics besides that like Disney Create website, and I used to make DuckTale comics when I was 8 years old, so fun. Obviously I can make a graphic novel. Next is another type of character illustrative digital thing. I know it's not as good as like doing a whole like character sheet or storyboard, but I wanted to include something to show that I could do somewhat like to show that I was doing illustration and working on characters. So I drew this based on a character from an old childhood story I wrote because when I was little I would always make little books, and I took one of those like books I had made when I was in middle school. I think I was in 7th grade, and I was writing a book in this journal, and I took one of the characters from there and kind of was working on characterization for that. I don't draw like this anymore. It's like kind of weird to see my style like this because I don't draw like this anymore, but I know when I went to portfolio day people like this, so I included it. Next is a geometric still life, and I did this for art class at school. I wanted to include this because, you know, still lifes, you should have those in a portfolio. This was another charcoal piece. I like working with charcoal. It was a fun and interesting assignment. I mean, it may not look interesting, but I liked working on it, and I remember being pretty proud of it when I turned it in for school. So yeah, pretty basic, just charcoal still life. These are some very loose figures I did in about 10 minutes. I would say figure drawing, like when I really have the time to work and put detail into it, is one of my stronger assets when it comes to art. I really love drawing the human body. Figure drawing is just really fun to me, and I hadn't had much practice drawing figures with a time crunch, you know, like a time limit, so I wanted to practice that a little. And these are 10-minute figures I did with charcoal. Yes, I did with charcoal. And then this is when I was trying to do pieces that had more of a story behind it. Artistic integrity, I guess, just where there's a lot of passion or there's a story behind what you're doing. So this one I called Foot and Mouth, and this is like a really random idea that just kind of popped in my head. Personally, I think feet are very ugly. I was like, you know, feet are awkward. I know a lot of people don't like feet, me included. So what if everyone's body parts were just feet? I promise you I was not on drugs when I was doing my processing for this. I wanted to kind of combine like figure drawing and that concept, so I kind of tried to do the feet for hands. I mean, you can't really see them, but like they're kind of there. But yeah, feet for heads, it was just, I wanted to really convey that story. This was done with watercolor again because I was feeling more confident with it, and I think the overall figures turned out pretty good, but then I wanted a background and you know, it didn't work as well. So this next one is called Fragile, and this piece was totally on a whim. I didn't even intend to make this. I literally sat down in my living room while my mom was watching TV, and I was like watching YouTube or something, and I just started drawing a face. I was like really frustrated, I think, at the time, so I was just drawing whatever, and it turned out this face looked very similar to my brother's face. This piece was mainly me just playing around with colors and story again. I wanted to do something based on fragile masculinity and men's emotions. You hear a lot about how men are not able to express themselves, or there's just a lot of issues with fragile masculinity. I know personally, like my brother, he's in a house with 2 girls. Like everyone in our house is a girl, even our dogs are grown, and I just kind of wanted to make this piece with all of these elements combined. This next one is called Obscure Picnic, and this was another still life I did for a class assignment. This one I'm very proud of. My teacher told me like this was a beautiful piece when I turned it in, and I was really proud of myself because this was the first time I used chalk pastels for an extended period, not just like scribbling around and messing around with them. Like this is the first time I did an actual piece with them. We basically had to just find random objects around the room to use for our still life, and each person at our table, we had like 6 people at our group table, and we had to just put a random item down. So obviously the items here are kind of like weird, like there's fruit and vegetables, and there's like flowers and a pink drink and a clock. So it was just a lot of random items put together, so I called it an obscure picnic. And it was a challenge mainly because there was some vibrant colors with some more dull, like I wanted to work with the more dull color scheme of the clock and the fruits, but then there were these random like pink flowers and pink drink. So it was just hard to balance those, so it was interesting seeing it all come together. So the last 2 pieces I did were a male figure and a female figure, more just basic figure drawing that I felt would be good in a portfolio. This is my male figure, did digitally. I'm not as familiar drawing male body, so This was mainly worked as digital practice for a male body. I just keep repeating myself, I'm sorry. The curves and contours lighting of the male body typically are much different than the female body, so yeah, it was mainly just a learning type of assignment. And last one, it's a female figure. I'm pretty confident in my female figure drawing abilities. It is used digitally. It was to go in conjunction with the male figure. So that was the portfolio I submitted to my schools, and got me accepted at some schools. I'm just really grateful to have the opportunity to be able to even apply to art school and go, and I'm just very thankful. Thank you for making this my outlet throughout the process. If you want to check out some of my videos, and I have some based around my process throughout late last year about my process of applying to art school in a more casual sense, so it's not me sitting down and talking about it, but if you're interested, like, check out my other videos. Eventually I'll do more about like applying and advice. I am not in art school yet, so I don't want to be like, this is what you need to do to get to art school and how you should go to art school, when obviously I've only gotten in, like I haven't actually gone yet. So later down the road I will make a video about that kind of stuff. I think I said this before, but I will be studying animation and going on the film animation new media track at SAIC. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, if you have any questions, comment down below and I'll hopefully try to get to them and answer them decently. Have a good rest of your day, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. Bye!